Hey, and we're back with another episode of the Rob J Show, Season 2, man. We up and going, man. Feeling real good, man. I got a lot of requests in from people that was like, man, Rob, man, what you doing is cool, man. We really like it, man. We want to just hear somebody, man, who do music, man, like a producer, somebody who really a part of like that H-Town culture, to hear that voice on the show, man, get that representation. So, Zero wasn't available, man. So shit, Donnie Houston. Man. Hey, this my boy, man. What's up, Donnie? Dog?
What's the deal? What's going on,
man? Hey, for people who don't know you, man, tell everybody, man, what you do, man.
Man, I'm Donnie Houston, man. You know what I mean? DJ, producer. I have a podcast. You know what I mean? I do a little comedy. I'm getting into some acting. Entertainer, man, all around. You know what I mean? I don't really want to be boxed in as far as with a title, just entertainer. You know what I mean? I'm on my Nick Cannon stuff right now. You know what I mean?
Man, that Nick Cannon, boy, you talk about a silent boss, man. I love y'all respect for Ray J because people sleep on Ray J.
He's a boss,
man. People
we're not gonna ever put no disrespect on Ray J name. Man. First of all. Before we get too far into the interview.
Hey, what is that at the beginning of y'all podcast? We like, my nigga Peanut in the crib. What?
Oh, Peanut on the way?
Yeah.
Yeah. That was a hit, man. Hit record. Ray J and Boosie. Peanut on the way, man. Go to iTunes and check that out. Man, but one thing you got to know about us at the podcast, man, Ray J is a god. And we don't tolerate no disrespect.
Man, hey, the Ray J, I salute to Ray J. Man, that dude, he doing it. Nick Cannon, he's in that same league though, man, in that class of people, who really be, when you look at you look at the stat line, you be like, damn.
I mean, he has his hands in everything. He's done everything, even with the, he put out a jam recently, Dreaming, I think it was, with the Migos and all. He wasn't even rapping on there, but people didn't know it was a Nick Cannon record.
Yeah.
It was Quavo and might have been Chris Brown or somebody, I don't know, but recently he had a song on the countdown, on the charts moving. And it was Nick Cannon. It was a Nick Cannon record.
Man, the only thing about Nick Cannon that's a little, the dude got talent to do whatever he want. The only thing about hip hop though, man, he would have to come up with just a bank. Cause I try to get in. Now that Gigolo was hard, man. That Gigolo.
It was good for the time.
But I don't know, I don't know if he could really pull that one off, man. But I ain't gonna put it past him, man. Brother been did some amazing things. But anyway, off that, man, back to you, man. We're gonna touch on all your different skill sets, man. And thing about it is, man, you actually good at all of them. You ain't one of them like, man, I produce a little bit on the side, man. I got a little Fruit Loop. Nah, you really like build sounds, man. And
appreciate it.
Nah, no doubt, man. I say 2 projects in particular, man. Is the first one I heard. I didn't even know this was you who did it, but it was Propane. Now, what was the name of the
Ryan Slab?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Man, like what you did, like when I heard that project, that was one of the most like just cohesive. Like I felt like it was almost like the music was like a score to the narrative that he was talking about. And it's very rare that a Houston person, in my opinion, really gives you that visual narrative to where you could really like close your eyes and feel like you went to Houston for a day.
Right.
I feel like that's what made that project special to me, man. And man, I still, man, this used to be my going to work music. I could lose it all like it ain't nothing.
Yeah,
man. So, man, that's dope. Like, how do you approach like working with artists, man? Like, how you find that connection and that sound for them?
Well, as far as the sound, like, I look at production like when you go to purchase a suit. You know what I mean? You go to the suit, you go buy your suit, they're going to say, okay, well, what's your size? You're going to say, all right, I'm a 42 long, whatever, 36 pant, whatever, you know what I mean? But it's still not going to be your fit. It's still not going to fit you, you know what I mean? So now we got to go in and we got to tailor it. So now we're going to get it just to where it fits you and you only, you know what I'm saying? So I look at production like that, like, all right, you're going to come in, I'm already going to say, okay, well, you may need this type of vibe, you know what I mean? But let's find a sound that's going to fit your voice, fit your character as an artist or whatever, you know what I mean? Like just the whole thing like that. But it's a real like personal thing with me. So I don't, like some producers make a lot of beats. I don't make a lot of beats, you know what I mean? Most times when I make beats it's because, and it has a lot to do with the way I started, you know what I mean? Because when I would make a beat all the time, it would be a Propane or a Rob Gillette or somebody that was like at the crib right there. So I'm making the beat, they writing the song, we recording the song all in one sitting. You know what I'm saying? So I guess kind of learning like that made me that way. But I don't make a lot of beats. Like I go in and sit with you, and whatever the vibe is also like. It's like a suit, but it's also like taking a picture. You know what I'm saying? You capture the moment. So whatever the vibe is at that time, that's the song. You know what I mean? That's the picture of whatever was going on in the studio that day or whatever the case. You know what I mean? It's just like a real personal thing, though.
No, I feel that, man. And you could hear it. You could hear the time that was taken in it, and it like in the music and in the story being told, man. And it doesn't come off like. Man, a lot of producers out here be just chili pimping these beats, man, and that's really all it is. You know, they got a Dropbox, a file full of stuff they made, and you there. Let me get this one off on you, and man, you could tell the difference in the sound and the work, and then the whole nine. Now, along with that, and like you talking about your comedy and stuff. Let me ask you this, man. Where did Lero come from, man? Like, I heard that's one of the funniest skits, man, I've ever heard, man. Like,
man, Lero is like it's something I made up, but it's also just like pieces of different people I done met in my life. You know what I mean? So it's that. It's part imagination and part like just like interaction from different people over the years.
Okay. So you just hey, you gotta do it one time, dog.
What's going down, baby? It's your player partner, Lero.
Man, hey, that Lero, man. In my head, I imagine he's from third. I don't know why, but I felt like he was
from the south side, maybe Sunnyside.
Okay. I mean?
Possibly Sunnyside or South Acres or something like that. You know what I mean? He's definitely from the south side.
Nah, most definitely, man. Now, like I said, I've heard two projects that I know, like you did start to finish, and both had the same feel to it. Now the other one being Hot Peas, or Don P is the official when y'all collaborate, right?
Right.
Okay. I always mess up the name, so I'm not even gonna try. I know it's Lagniappe.
Yeah. That's it.
Oh, okay, Lagniappe.
Yeah, for sure.
Man, that project there, man, was really just another perfect marriage, man, between the sound and the artist, and man, really proceeded what has become the new kind of modern sound, which is a hip hop take on New Orleans. You were early to that party, you know. How do you feel now? Like feeling like, okay, you were there in 2016. That's when it came out, right?
It came out at the end of 15.
So at the end.
No, I'm sorry. 15, 16. 16.
16.
At the end of 16. Yeah.
So being early to that party and not seeing that sound kind of take off the way it is, like, did you feel like, I don't know, like you didn't get your just due for it, or you feel like?
Nah, because to be honest, like that's happened a few times. You know what I mean? Like, It's been a couple of things that I've done and then I see somebody else do it and I'm like, you know what I mean? So it's just a part of the game. It's more so like a confirmation to me to know, like, okay, I'm on the right path. You know what I'm saying?
I feel that. I definitely feel that, man. You think it was just great minds thinking alike, or you think that boy Aubrey be stealing a little bit? You know what I'm saying?
I mean, I can't say that. You know what I mean? Because I think eventually, like, if your mind is really working, you might get there. You know what I'm saying? Because that was my thing. I'm like, okay, this is something that hasn't been tapped into in hip hop, and so if you weren't aware of Don P and Lagniappe, you could be thinking the same thing. We done heard the trap. We done heard people try to bring back all these different types of sounds. You know what I mean? Nobody's really tapped into the New Orleans thing, like, for real. And I mean, it could be that. I don't know.
Man, nah, but that album.
I don't even want to be arrogant enough to say somebody heard my stuff and stole it. You know what I'm saying? I'd rather just be like, great minds think alike.
Hey, there it is. Great minds think alike, man. Man, boys will be stealing though, but
definitely, and then, you can see, some people just stole some stuff, and I know, you know what I mean. We're not gonna get into that, but in cases like this, like, it is what it is.
Nah, man, but going back to that project too, man. Like, man, again, I feel like when y'all collaborated on that, you got to hear the side of New Orleans that really, like, you really don't see necessarily on a music representation level. Like, you get the most extreme New Orleans when it comes to, like, commercial rap. You know what I'm saying? Which is basically, I'm the most gangster. I'm the you heard me,
Right.
But like, I really hadn't seen before the common man story from New Orleans. And New Orleans really is a city of just, you know what I'm saying, cool niggas. Negus, you know what I'm saying? I'm talking Kings, man, keep it positive over here. But it's like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's a city of brothers like that.
Right.
And to capture that story where it's like, yo, this is like a real dude from New Orleans, like, and to do it in a way that was like, I'm not preaching to you, and that's my problem. You know, some of the people out of New Orleans who have a message, you know, I feel like to an extent they try to beat you over the head with it. Now, you know, for me, I tune out. You know,
right.
You got to be a cold rapper to preach to me, like, and have me keep listening. But that project there, it just was like, man, it just had it was right in that right pocket, man. And to this day, man, I be thinking about that. You know, Rob J done came a long way. You know, man, used to have that little anger issue, man. But you know, man, you know what song I used to listen to, man? I be hot, man. Don't react. Yeah. So, hey, man.
I ain't gonna lie, man. Like, usually when I do stuff, I'll do it, and I may listen to it for the time, and then I just put it away and never listen to it again. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And the other day, I happened to pull it out, and I was listening to Don't React, and I was like, man. And I'm the way what I'm saying again. This is not an arrogant thing. I judge everything from an outside ear. You know what I mean? I never get tied up in myself to think like just because I did something is dope. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that's a good song though.
Man, dog, man. I got the world in my palm if I keep calm.
Come on, dog.
Hey, you know what I'm saying? Like,
eyes on the prize. I'm not concerned with the accused.
Man.
Anybody making moves, they want you to lose. Focus.
Hey, man. Shout out to Paul Wall, man. Like,
that was a great verse. You know what I mean?
Dog.
Great verse.
Hey, Paul Wall, man. Hey, he silent but deadly, man. Like, these features. Paul Wall, man, I really feel like his swinging in the rain, man, didn't really get his just due, man. I think
classic.
He just kind of
record.
Yeah, man. He's
classic. I can write a book on how to work the wheel.
Man,
come on, dog.
Man, no.
Come on, dog. Like, come on, man.
And like, man, and one thing about it is, you know, we was talking about music. I was talking about, you know, the
project. I got an album with Paul Wall too, by the way. Top rank.
Oh man, it was coming, dog. Let me.
My bad.
I was gonna walk you there. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Hey, look, man, we ain't bopping over here. I ain't finna sit you down and he worked with Paul Wall. No, I'm talking about you. This is what I'm saying. We was gonna get there.
All right, for sure.
But anyway,
forget I even mentioned it.
Hey, but since we there, though, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, not only, and that's another thing though too about your sound and about the way you work is like you live in both worlds. You know what I'm saying? And you're you in both worlds. You know what I'm saying? Like you can work with a indie art or an artist who's building that sound up, and you can also bring that same, you know, interpretation and energy to an artist who's more established. You know, I feel like, you know, it's a level of versatility to it, man. But what's it like working with Paul, working with Slim, working with some of the more established artists, and what do you get from them, like as a producer? Like, what things have you picked up from being around them in the studio?
I mean, the things I've learned for them is just more so been like a lot of game. You know what I'm saying? It's more than anything. Like with Paul, it's like he's really the people's champ. You know what I'm saying? Like he sit there and told me, listen, rap is my dream job. You know what I'm saying? I never have a reason to have a bad day. I never have a reason to not want to take a picture with somebody, to sign something, to do what everybody, to do what anybody may be asking me pertaining to being a rapper, because this is my dream job. Bad day or not, you know what I'm saying? And like when you hear somebody say that who's accomplished what he's accomplished, it's like, man, you know what? Like, I mean, I don't front on people anyway, but then, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes you see people that are kind of like funny acting with certain people, and then you hear somebody like him say that, and it's like, man, nah, like that's the attitude, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's a privilege, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't have to go to work, thank God, and I work 9 to 5, you know what I'm saying? Been damn near depressed and had to leave them and do whatever, you know what I'm saying? But, like, it's a privilege, you know what I'm saying? So you always remember that and remind yourself of that, and that'll, like, you know, just keep you on point, dog. You know what I'm saying? Not get too ahead of yourself.
Man, dog, you know, it's, a lot of stuff I used to think was really cliche as a young man. I'm starting to realize, like, it's just true, you know, as a grown man. And, like, one thing I've been saying, the people at the top just have better attitude.
Yeah.
It's really that simple, man.
It's those are going to be the people that are the nicest people. If somebody got acting funny with you, it's because they not all the way there yet, and they may have to think they have to be a certain way. You know what I'm saying? Or they mad because they ain't where they may think that you are. You know what I'm saying? I don't know, but that's a fact, bro. Like the most successful people are that's the nicest people. Man,
it's like I remember when you know, even back when it was the industry nights, you know, that I was doing, and I met him in passing, but it felt like, man, like, this might be like the nicest dude I've ever met, man. Like, if Paul Wall ran for mayor, if he was a politician, he'd be mayor. You know, he just really understands the dynamics of dealing with people. And at the end of the day, I mean, it's a relationship business. One One thing, man, you know, that I think with a lot of artists, a lot of people sometimes look at other people's success and almost want to find like what the secret sauce was or what they hack was, who they knew. And I'm learning, man. It's I'm not gonna say there's not, you know, somebody occasionally who slips through, but man, the people who be at that top, man, they there for a reason. They there because they went and got it, man. And
most definitely.
Man, this whole idea about, man, oh, so and so got this because of that, man, it's dead, man. I really hate when I hear artists speaking on that. You've traveled and you've not only put in work here in Houston, man, but you also, like myself, man, you lived in Atlanta for a while.
Right.
Was producing out there in that scene.
Right.
What made you like? What was your experience out there in Atlanta like?
It was good. Man, I learned a lot more than anything. You know what I mean? Networked. It was a real good experience. You know, it was just it's different out there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The music industry is different. You understand why they're in the position that they're in.
Okay.
And you know that's basically it. I got to see it. Like, okay, this is why the Atlanta music scene is the way that it is. You know what I'm saying?
What would you say was different, like juxtaposing it to Houston?
It's more so, you know, they've seen success for so many years. So, okay, they got, you know, a lot of the people, there's no secret that a lot of the people who may be around a lot of these artists or D-boys or whatever, you know what I'm saying? It's not really a lot of like executives when you're talking about from the street level, these trap artists.
Mm-hmm.
These aren't really executives with the exception of like Coach K.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But even the other guy I believe was like a street guy, you know what I'm saying? P or whatever, like.
Yeah.
But they're investing their money and it's because they've seen that it's possible. And they've seen it be possible many times versus in Houston, you know, somebody with some bread, either they're going to invest it in some shit that really ain't that good, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, where are dope boys at? Like,
or they're going to be hesitant to do it just because it's such a gamble, you know what I'm saying? Because we haven't seen it like that. We haven't seen like get a hot artist, get a hot record, take it to the radio or take it to the internet and kill the internet and you on. You know what I'm saying? We haven't seen it. It doesn't happen like that here. We come up from a different system. You know what I'm saying?
No, man, I agree 100%, man.
And that goes back to learning from Slim and Paul and them. You know what I'm saying? Like I learned about that system and kind of the way that it is. It's just like, dog, you know, Atlanta, they didn't have the underground thing. You can't travel Georgia and get rich. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like,
I never thought about that. Damn.
You can't do that. But somebody from Texas, you know, literally, still to this day, I DJ with Slim. You know what I'm saying? We're going out of town this weekend to a couple cities. Like, they've been going to these places, creating these relationships, you know what I'm saying? Selling these units. And for years to come, and, you know, for years past and years to come, they're gonna always be good. Because they laid their groundwork. You know what I'm saying?
Man, so you think, but how?
Versus we're gonna get some money and try to be mainstream.
Okay. So they don't have, so basically because we got so many leagues, basically you don't got to make it to the NBA, so to speak, in Texas. You could play and still live a good life. Yeah. Versus out there, it's the league or it's nothing.
Right.
Okay. Well, I never heard it explained like that. I mean,
think about it. You know what I mean? Think about it. The Futures and all them, like Future didn't stay Future in Atlanta.
Yeah. Wow.
He got popping in Atlanta and then he was out of here. You know what I'm saying? Lil Baby, he got popping in Atlanta and then immediately he was out of here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man, you know what? I remember the first time they put Lil Baby, I was like, man, I don't know, man. I'm kind of, I want to like it. But they kept,
Lil Baby got it.
He came back. I was like, I was like, okay, I'm a believer. Man, the thing about it though, man, one thing, like you said, living in Atlanta and kind of that experience, a lot of it was the same. When I was out there, I was primarily doing videos, but man, there's power in perspective, man. And I was talking to actually Rod Gillette about Houston hip hop and stuff like that, and he was just sharing some things that are true, but you know, not necessarily having the brightest outlook on it. And my exact words was, I understand you feeling like that, but if you were from Zone 4 Atlanta and 6 dudes from your neighborhood had got on, you would look at rap totally different. You would look at rap as, you know,
it's possible.
Yeah, and you know, it's just there is power in that. I mean, for me, even you know, in technology or whatever, I was around people who had self-taught themselves how to do so many amazing things. Like the idea of going to a Barnes and Noble, picking up a book about something that I know nothing about, and just reading it and learning it. Like that idea is comfortable to me. And I feel like whatever you start accepting as your truths and whatever basically it becomes a philosophy. You know, it becomes like a lifestyle. And everybody's lifestyle is full of, things that they've either accepted as true or haven't accepted as true, whether good things and bad. And man, I think that exposure, man, really, really just shows, man, like the difference. And it's with them is rap, in the Bay Area, a person believes that, hey, I could think of a great idea, walk into a VC and pick up, $5 million to start to build this app, you know. So it's just it's an interesting concept. But one thing about Atlanta that I still ain't figured out yet, man, is how does every rapper have money? I know they from the street. It's streets everywhere.
Well, for one, that's not for real.
Man, I seen on Vlad, the man said, hey, man, how you got on? Man, Future is from my neighborhood, man. So I ran into him. He said, man, he'll do a feature, man, for 25 racks. So I just went and got the 25, gave it to him. Where the 25 came from, dog?
No, the other side of this is that everybody's selling something.
No doubt.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's a lot of trapping going on out there. Like, everybody's selling something. You know what I'm saying? They selling something or they get some scamming going on, but everybody's selling something in Atlanta. Now, some of that shit is faking and shaking it, you know what I'm saying, fronting. But it's a lot of people just trapping, you know what I mean? There's a lot of trapping going on. Man,
as a producer, man, and on the music side, what do you think it would take for Houston to start being? I know you worked, you did it indie night. You actually brought artists to Atlanta to perform. Some of those artists are still out here making moves now. Really built a foundation from that. You was putting indie artists. You put some in front of like Paul. You would have other judges come by.
Right.
Set them up with different studio packages. But with a lot of those things, man, and what I found even when I was out there is nobody had to be a hero. Everybody just had something to contribute. And when everybody just has something to contribute, it's easy to get some people to a party that's already live. Well, out here, when somebody tries, they want to be in the Lone Ranger. So, okay, it might have been, it's perfectly comfortable for you to pop off something on a Wednesday. It's not killing your schedule. But, now, okay, I got him here on Wednesdays. I got to give him something, a step up. Okay, now I'm going to do Sundays, whatever. Now I'm going to do this. Now I'm bringing there. And at the end of the day, you're just one person,
Right.
And that's kind of what I feel like I've seen happen when people have tried to do that. What do you think it would take for Houston to be a destination where you can come to and get on rap-wise and not get on,
For one, with that, man, people got to stop being corny and stop piggybacking.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I think it becomes counterproductive to go and have someone start something and then you're going to start the exact same thing.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because at that point, you burn it out. You'll burn out the idea of an open mic or whatever because it's like, man, we going to go over here and do the same thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That we did on Wednesday, but we finna go do it over here with this group. Like, as opposed to this group coming with a different, coming with something different that may be able to help work with that. You know what I'm saying? Work with the night or whatever the case. Just bringing something different to the table to where it's like Voltron versus a bunch of the same bot. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I feel that.
Like, but I mean, what it's gonna take, bro? I mean, we're gonna have to create. The main thing is there's no executives here. You know what I'm saying? If I call Paul, if I call Slim right now, we had these conversations. It's the same thing. There's no executives here. Who's the link to the mainstream in Houston?
Wow. Okay.
There is none. You know what I'm saying? And people look to, the OGs ain't showing love. Bro, they rappers.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They are not executives. They are rappers. And in some cases, they want to be rappers. Like Paul, I'll tell you, I don't want to be an executive. I don't want to be a label owner. I want to be a rapper. You know what I'm saying? Don't look to me to bring you somewhere to get the deal because that ain't what I'm on.
That's real.
And you can't fault nobody for that. You know what I'm saying? Like, we don't have that. You know what I'm saying?
No, that's real. I could definitely, man, I could appreciate anybody in their truth, man. And now that you said that, man, one thing that I was just thinking about was like, yeah, you know what? We really don't have chance encounters. You don't have that whole.
Who's the executive? We don't even have like a Karen Civil.
Yeah.
Who's not a record exec, but she's an industry person.
Yeah, I feel you. I see what
you know what I'm saying? And it could be because, you know, we've kind of created this whole thing over the years of we're independent.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like I was saying, like, you know, in Atlanta and them, like they get a hit record or something like that. They're going to try to get out of Georgia and go get a deal. We get a hit record, we're going to go set up a tour and hit Texas and get this money.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's just, we just haven't played that game, dog. And it's not that executives don't want to sign people from here, but at the same time, too, we lack education. You know what I'm saying?
That's real.
On the industry. Like, I had a conversation one time with an artist who had a nice buzz, and I was trying to tell him, like, man, you should let me A&R your project. And they said, what's that?
Oh, wow.
And this is an artist with a, you know what I'm saying? Like, and it's no knock. We just don't have the education, man, and it's because we don't have the industry here. Who's here to teach you or talk to you about labels and deals if ain't nobody here got labels and deals?
Man, you got a great point. And that's crazy you say that, because I remember seeing, like, literally in LA in a studio, and these were like guys who had just made up a song, right? And they recording, and literally in the process of writing and recording, they like, okay, I did the hook, I did that.
They getting the splits together.
Yeah, they doing, you know what I'm saying? Okay, so you did that.
Yeah.
They got they like,
and it's not a why we gotta. It's a no. This is the business. This is the way it goes.
Yeah,
this is a part of the process. Just like going to the studio and writing this song, laying out this split sheet in the studio at the time is a part of that same process.
Wow.
But if you pull out a sheet here, people are gonna be like, "What is that?" Or first, you know what I'm saying, might not even know how to fill it out.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Man, it is like I've never asked. Even now, granted, I haven't just bought that many beats. You know, it's really most beats I was on just being people just. Either I was paying just studio time hourly and they just made them, or, you know, it was just my homeboys. But I've never seen anyone really fill out the proper, you know, song royalties paperwork, you know, with the project.
You're not. It's a chance that you might. I mean, I've done a couple, but for the most part, it's like, man, look, I'll just sell you the beat and I'll do my own stuff with BMI, you know what I'm saying? Make sure that all my stuff is straight on my own.
Yeah. Man, wow, man. It's crazy getting back to that perspective thing too, because I remember, man, like the guys who did my first project, man, it's two producers named Ryan and Smitty. They wound up becoming a partnership and wound up getting like a pub deal, whatever. And I remember one time Smitty was mad because I think somebody who was helping represent him had let one of his beats go off to what's that girl name? Lil Mo. She used to do a lot of like kind of singing song. Yeah, I think her name was Lil Mo.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Man, a guy had sold her one of his beats for $5,000 and he was livid. He was like, literally, he was like, man, like pissed off. And but he was playing a totally different game than, you know, my partners out here that produce. If I told some incredible producers out here, man, what would you do if Lil Mo bought a beat for $5,000? They'll do her whole album. They would go and rejoin church, man. They sold a beat for $5,000. But it's just a matter of.
But that's because we don't see that here.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You're dealing with industry versus indie.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
You feel me? In the industry, $5,000 ain't shit.
Yeah.
If we talking about somebody with a radio budget, that's $500. You know what I'm saying? $300, whatever. Wow. I would be mad if I'm finna sell somebody with a major deal or a track for $5,000 too. Yeah, because we could have got 20 at minimum.
Man, so being back here, man, do you feel like I don't know? What made you come back to Houston?
Okay, it was like this. I came back to Houston like August 2016, something like that. And it was a combination of a couple things. It basically came down to, at this point, I had got the Don P record, Magnificent. I was playing it every Sunday on 937. Mm-hmm. So that was in March. And then we got to August, and I ended up getting a single with Slim, the Peaceful record. Okay. And it was on 979. They playing it. It went to like number one, and I'm in Atlanta. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, and not only that I'm in Atlanta, it's like I'm still trying to figure it out. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm meeting people. I'm getting a little work here and there. You know what I'm saying? It's productive, but it ain't that kind of productive. You know what I'm saying? Where I'm like, I can go back to Houston for about 6 months, capitalize on this situation, and come back. Okay. That was the plan. Well, when I got here, I ended up starting an album with Paul Wall, started industry night, started getting my hands into other things, and then, here we are. But I never intended on coming back, like, to be this long, for sure.
Man, like, as being somebody, like, who kind of who's been blessed with the insight to see these things, I mean, do you aspire to be one of those builders of that, or are you kind of from the, I'm going to tell you like this, the way Paul Wall feel, that's the way I felt about, writing and about covering and about managing that. I got a business degree, I'm not saying I would be just great at it, but I mean, I could be a music journalist tomorrow. I mean, it's all, I was raised like a journalist. It's already in me. But I love these bars, man. I don't want to sit on this. I don't want to write about your album. I want to write these bars. That's what's in my heart. So you gotta stay true to whatever it is that's in there. Like, is that do you see yourself as somebody who wants to be an architect here? And
I ain't forcing it. I'm not forcing it, man. Like, for me, I don't know, bro. Like, it's always kind of funny. You know what I'm saying? It's always kind of funny. So I'm to the point to where I'm like, if I can meet an artist, you know what I'm saying? Maybe one or two artists or something like that, take them under my wing, use my resources, you know what I mean? Get them popping, get some stuff going, and that would be cool. I mean, I'm not saying I wouldn't be open to help the scene or, you know what I'm saying, the people as a whole, but sometimes trying to save everybody or save nobody. You know what I'm saying?
Man, ain't that the truth, man? Boy, that's a word right there, Shimalabosha. Man, now looking for that artist though, man, I ain't gonna lie. Like, I'm the same way as far as, man, like, I mean, I don't have nothing I could tangibly do, like, as far as, like, a producer for it. But I always got an ear out, just listen for the young talent, man. And it's light, man. It's real light. I mean, now Kendra, man, which my first time ever seeing her was at
industry night. I'm sure. Yeah.
Man, now that's a talent to come out of.
Yeah, she's dope.
Man, she could,
and she got the personality. You know what I mean? Like, she's dope.
Yeah, she could go, man. But yeah, I hope, man. I hope that man, whoever that person is, man, somehow, the universe put y'all in front of each other, man. Because I could see, man. I think everybody who learns something and who's able to be blessed with a gift naturally, it's already in your heart to want to share, you know what I'm saying, with the next generation, man. And one thing, actually, man, Chris Parsons was a guest on here, and he's a photographer. He travels with TD. He's a tour photographer. He told me that he had a 7-year-old mentor named King Bobo. And he's a little kid, take photos and everything. And so he was the one who made me take my age limits off. Like, okay, and fine, I ain't gonna put no age. Cause I used to have this thing, man. I don't want to be around no snot-nosed baby, man. I got it. Nah, you gotta be 13. So but after that, I thought about it. I was like, I'm taking limitations off. So actually, next week, man, on Wednesdays, man, I'm gonna be picking up this kid. His name's King. He's Danny Walker's son.
Okay.
This dude, I feel like this kid could be the next Neil deGrasse Tyson. He's 8, so we're gonna be here every Wednesday working on stuff. And I feel like Customato, man, because now I believe in my heart of hearts. You give me consistent,
dedication.
Yeah, just without having to teach within the confines of a classroom, one-on-one. Man, I feel like I'm about to create an animal, man. Like, I mean, a beast. And I think, man, if he's the same in the spirit that I saw in him, I took a liking to him when he was 5. But I was like, man, I can't be around no 5. Man, what am I look like showing up, picking up your 5? I don't even. But like, now he ready, man. So all that's there to say, man, I hope you find that that person who's a worthy student, man, because that's how we get better, man.
Yeah, for sure.
Man, so we moving forward, man. Like, cause I said, man, I could have did about 4 different interviews. Like, you got all your different, spaces that you in right now. But one of the things that we both have been, experimenting with, man, I was surprised to find out, man, is comedy. I didn't know you. I knew you was funny, but I didn't know you was like, I get on stage, and now you flaked on us on, man, Things of Comedy, man. You left me hanging on my birthday. We ain't gonna talk about it, man.
Well, I mean, you rescheduled was 17 times, you know what I'm saying?
Bro,
when we got to 17, I was happy to be booked.
Bro, it was my birthday, man, 12/21. Man.
I happy to be booked on 12/21, you know what I mean? But I was ready.
Hey,
I was ready the first 16 weeks.
It's like all good, man. But what about comedy, man? Like, got you got you into it and made enough to where, you know, you was ready. You did improv, you know, open mic nights. Like, what got you into that?
Man, I always been into comedy, bro. Like when I was little, like kids were watching like Spider-Man and like cartoons, Marvel and all that. Like, but I don't know anything about Marvel and DC comics, none of that. I can't tell you who's on what side. I don't know any of that shit. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, that make two of us.
I don't know any of that, bro. When I was little, I watched Yo MTV Raps, Rap City, Comic View, and Def Jam, and like that type of stuff. You know what I'm saying? And then sitcoms, Martin and Living Color, whatever was on at the time. You know what I'm saying? That was funny.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just naturally kind of fun. You know what I'm saying? Kind of funny myself. So that gravitated to like when I got to high school, like senior year, I started like going back and studying like Eddie Murphy, Delirious, Raw, some of Red Fox stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like the greats. Mm-hmm. Like I find myself like not even going. I wouldn't go out. I go and rent these movies and watch these movies. You know what I'm saying? Studying, not even knowing I'm studying, but just feeding my mind with all these things. You know what I'm saying? So when I got to college, my sophomore year at Sam Houston, I ended up getting in the Ebony Man scholarship contest banquet, something. You know what I'm saying? Something that the AKAs do it. Mm-hmm. And so one portion of the thing was a talent portion. And initially I was going to DJ. I was like, man, what am I going to do for a talent? You know what I'm saying? For a while, it took me to embrace, and even still sometimes, you know what I'm saying? But it took me a while to like really embrace like myself and like certain things I can do. So even though I knew I was funny, I wasn't even thinking about getting on stage. I was like, man, I don't have no talent. I guess I'll DJ. And then it got like maybe like 2 weeks before that, and I was like, man, DJ ain't going to be boring. Ain't nobody going to vote. I'm not going to win first place getting up there on some turntables. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And so I was like, man, you know what? I'm going to do comedy. And literally wrote 5 minutes. I came out. I had 4 jokes. All 4 jokes hit. Had a standing ovation at the end. You know what I'm saying? And that right there put me like at Sam, like, oh, Dondrick is funny. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And it was just like, that's kind of what it was, you know?
Man, dog, I'm going to tell you, man, man, really dusting at a pro. The same way, man, people always say, man, you funny, man, but it's a weird thing, man, like, because you growing up, you want to be fly, man. You want to be, you know what I'm saying, you want to be hard. You don't want to be funny. You know, it's a kind of an underhanded compliment. So I think a lot of people that's naturally funny, they don't necessarily just receive it, you know, immediately. But people say that my whole life. And then Dustin, he was like, man, I'm throwing this thing at, you know, Prestige Maynard kickback, some of him and his sister, man, why don't you come do some stand-up? And I just tried it out, and I was like, man, dog. But I'm going to tell you, comedy, boy, you talk about an art form that will bring that whole about somebody. Man, boys was scared of that mic. They was like, man, I don't want to go first, man. I don't want to go.
It's the hardest thing I've ever done. You know what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't matter, bro. I done DJ'd in front of 30,000, you know what I'm saying, at a car show or whatever the case, you know what I'm saying, 106, whatever. When you get on stage, bruh, it don't matter where you get on stage at. People are looking at you and hearing every single sound that comes out of your mouth. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And that's something. You know what I'm saying?
Man, it's a thing, man, it's one of those things where, like, when it's good, man, there ain't nothing like, when I came up there, and his sister is 10 years younger. So these are 23, 24-year-olds. They halfway paying attention. And I think it was right around the time when the Zero Just Britney thing had happened. And, you know, my first joke was something around the extent of, my feminist homegirl just called about this Just Britney thing and talking about we need to boycott Roe. And I said, boycott Roe? Bitch, you crazy? I ain't boycotting Roe. Bitch, I give up Trey. I ain't giving a Roe. They went crazy. So once you get one, like, it's like a knockout punch. It's like a home run, man. And then once you get that laugh, now you feeling yourself.
The edge is knocked off.
Yeah, now you ready to go. But, man.
It's the ultimate high, dog. Like,
nothing like it.
It's the ultimate high. I don't care. I done had great nights DJing, great nights in the studio. The comedy high is the one. That's the one.
When it's on and you just control, like, you are psychologically controlling people with words and deciding when to make them so filled with joy that they can't contain it in their laugh. Like, it really is nothing like it. But I ain't gonna lie, I've been up there and drowned a few times. Nothing like that either. Boy, that feels like you are fighting someone.
You know, it's tough. You just kind of want
every punch is just
you just wanted to be over. You know what I mean? You just wanted to be.
Dog, that is a bad feeling, man. Man, I had me and Dustin tried to do a comedy night at Alley Cat at one point, man, and like, man, these girls and they was really hating because, man, back in my past life, I encountered both of them and they had just found out, they was cousins and they was all, so now they all in hating mode,
Okay.
So they started.
But they showed up to the comedy show?
They showed, but see, I didn't know they know, when you trying to get something off the ground, you inviting everybody
Right.
So I'm like, I invited them all out and guess turned out they was cousins, found out we had all rendezvoused or whatever, so now they start basically heckling me. And the thing about heckling and trolling is, all it takes is one good troll. It's like that troll, it's like a spirit, and that troll spirit get activated. Now everybody start feeling like, he ain't live. You know what I'm saying? Like, right. So, man, they came with that, and I was like, oh, man. Man, your whole joy be gone. By the end of the set,
it be one of them things, it's like you either take the L or you just got to really let your nuts hang.
Yeah.
Be like, man, y'all hoes shut up. You know what I'm saying?
You
gotta jump out. You gotta jump all the way out there, or just take it.
Yeah, man. I wasn't about jumping out there. I just took it, man. It felt like a slow death, man. But man, one thing going along with the comedy, man, is in the podcast, man, that you're doing now. With man, shout out to your whole squad, man, because one of them.
Appreciate it,
man. I could say, man, listen to that podcast. It's really a team. Y'all like the Ninja Turtles, man, because everybody has a role. You know what I'm saying? It was Teeth, Lean on Me, Devo, Hot Peas, you, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, man. It's always some. Man, I feel like the other four. I don't know if any of them have studied comedy or if they see themselves in that light. But really, it's really observational comedy. At its core. But a lot of the people who truly are funny people who really are funny. They just be in them, and I feel like that's what's natural about that podcast, man. I see that going a long way, man. What made y'all decide to start that?
Well, I mean, I had a podcast before called The Issue back in 2011, 12. But it was before, like, this is when, Combat Jack was one of the only few ones around, you know what I'm saying? And it was hard for people to grasp the concept of just listening to someone talk that's not on the radio, you know what I'm saying? And so that was that. But I always wanted to start another one. And, I mean, we sit around the office and we talk all the time. And I was just like, all right, if I'm going to start one, we should just record some of these things, you know what I'm saying, that we sit around and chop it up about. And so I asked who wanted to be down. And, that's how we got it.
Man, it's, man, some of the takes and some of the stuff y'all, man, I feel like, man, Devo got some classics with the whole, man, you smash a girl 3 times in a week, that's your woman. Yeah. Man, was it Teeth last time who said that, man, the investment of a date, like how much he just was adding it up, like how much it costs. It's always, man, something unique, man, and just something that I find uniquely funny or something that I hear on there that I really would want to say myself.
Right.
But, man, I done been through wars, man, sharing these opinions, man. I'm at this point, man, I just want to just chill out, man, and relax and be positive, man. I done been through it. But, man, I feel like it's really like the voice. I feel like it's the unapologetic voice of cis males today, man. Man. So I think, man, that thing could grow, man. And I also, I think there's really not a place right now where Southern comedy is. I feel like New York comedy is.
There's no voice. That's the goal, man. Like, I feel like we have the potential to compete with the Joe Buttons and whoever you're listening to in a podcast game. And 9 times out of 10 on the East Coast. You know what I'm saying? There's no popping podcast that's coming from a Southern perspective. You know what I mean? And I feel like we can bring that. You know what I mean? Like, just us with our personalities, and then with like some of these interviews we're starting to do and bring in, you know what I mean? Like even when we just had the Johnny Binder, like somebody on the East Coast might have had
Supreme or something.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, but we hear about them all the time.
Yeah.
But we have these stories down here that are never being told. You know what I'm saying? So
and I think, man, I really think, and it's a different type of comedy. Like New Yorkers is cool, but I mean, they comedy is they thing, man.
Some people, if you can't adapt or you're not open to certain things, like you probably won't get the East Coast voice.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
You know, I mean, outside of the hometown, like I find Cali guys to be funnier than me. You know, I can listen to a Cali dude just talk because they got great stories. I feel like Philly, you know, even though I don't know any podcasters from out of there, I could just like Philly just tells the greatest stories ever. You know, I can listen to that. What's my man? Hey, this youngin' just hit my DM, wanted some game, Gilly. I've been with my girlfriend for like 3 years, man. But I've been like, what he be doing, like he could go, you know. But I don't. Matter of fact, Gilly should podcast. I don't know if he Gilly and Wallow. That should be like, man. That's too easy. I don't know why they hadn't started doing that. But yeah, man, it's a different voice, man. That down south voice needs some representation, man.
Yeah. So God say the same, man. We'll be able to link up with somebody that can kind of put us in position to get that to the masses. You know what I'm saying? Because again, it's like the music game. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If what they talking about was on the East Coast, I can go get on Charlemagne's radar like that. Elliott Wilson. And I'm saying those names because Charlemagne can plug me to Loudspeakers Network.
Yeah.
To get me those sponsorships and get me in the, you know what I mean? Get me into it to where it's going to reach the masses. It's the same thing down here with the podcast, man. Like, and even with the podcast, it's like early hip hop because like how the South was late to the rap party. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like the South is late to the podcast party. They've been podcasting on the East Coast now for probably almost 10 years.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So now we getting into it. You starting to see more podcasts pop up, but don't nobody really know how to really move and get it to where it's, you know, out there for real and into those, you know, on the radar. You know what I'm saying?
Man, and all the struggle podcasters got to get out the. Well, no, I take that back. I ain't, you know, everybody has a right. Everybody has a right to create. So I can't, you know, I never blame a person's success or unsuccess out of other people trying it. But I will say it is a thing where it's kind of harder. It's getting harder to sift through unless something.
Because everybody popping up with a podcast now.
Yeah,
and it's people that, man, I just wish people would check out our podcast. You know what I'm saying? Because I know it's good, and I ain't saying that again. I judge everything from an outside perspective. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying that just because I'm a part of it. I think it's good. I think it's funny. People listen to it. I think it's good. They think it's good. I think it's funny. But then when you have all these podcasts popping up every week. For one, people not really being consistent, so they drop 2 or 3 episodes and you never hear from them again.
Yeah.
Or, you know, it's just somebody else just every day somebody got something new to where it's like, man, if you're not even tuned in to podcast for real, if you're not really aware of the podcast game and all you starting to hear about is, oh, there's this new thing called podcast, but you're also seeing people pop up with them every day, you ain't gonna never really find that dope.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, nah, definitely.
And you might be turned off because what you might get on might not even be, you know, might not be that live. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you might be turned off by quote unquote podcasts. You know what I'm saying?
And the thing about it, man, too, is I think, man, just like you said earlier, man, like, you know, if we having a potluck and, you know, I got fried chicken and people like, man, Rob got fried chicken, don't come bring extra chicken. We already got chicken. You know what I'm saying? Bring steak, bring macaroni, bring some sides. I think like a lot of.
But that's what I was saying too with the events and things like that. Like we got to bring different things to the table and make them work together versus everybody bringing the same dish. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, most definitely, man. That definitely got to. I mean, you know, we got to definitely embrace that here, man. Really, you know, nothing wrong with competition, man.
No, there's nothing wrong with that. But I think that, you know. I mean, it ain't nobody ever gonna come out to muscle and say, well, yeah, I ain't doing this shit for real. But they will, I think that we should, you know, just keep that in mind, man. Like, how serious are we taking these things before we go to stardom? So that we ain't playing, you know what I'm saying, though, so that we don't dilute what it is that we really trying to get accomplished. You know what I'm saying?
And or if you are playing, just let it be known that, hey, I'm just trying this out. You know,
it's a hobby of mine.
Yes, no shame in a hobby, man.
Something wrong with that, yeah.
So, man, I definitely, but see, I mean, I really could see, you know, with y'all podcast being on like Vice or something like that, man. Like really, because it has the, basically it just has the staying power. You know what I'm saying? Because it's personalities that really like, and then I like the way you moderate it as well. And I feel like, man, you moderate it but you're a gentle moderator. Like you're not. You know, I've been studying Joe Rogan a lot lately, man, because to me, Joe Rogan, in my opinion, he has the best ear in podcasting. Like he knows how to listen very attentively to his guests to where, and he doesn't mind stopping you right there. He don't mind going back. And at the same time, he's not going to get in your way.
Right.
You know, and he just kind of gives his people space to go. And I feel like, man, the way you moderate it, because, you know, whenever you get brothers in a room talking about, you know, subjects, man, you know, it gets saucy, you know, the yak get involved. You know, it could go left real quick. You know what I'm saying? But I feel like, man, when it's right on the verge of going like left, that's when, you know what I'm saying, you gently put them, how they do at the bowling alley, they put them bumpers up, man. You know? So when the kids bowl, you gently put them up. And I feel like, even though this isn't his official role, I feel like High Peas is like the sub moderator, man, because he also will put up some bumpers like, man, hold up, fellas, man. Hold up, man. What you mean? Like, you know, so it's good to have that. Good to have a married brother on there too, man, because, man, sometimes y'all be going hard on the sisters, man, boy. Yeah. I know one sponsor y'all won't have, boy, it's feminists. But but y'all,
we gonna get them to come around. We gonna eventually get the feminists to come around, man.
But see
things our way.
But y'all do, man. The thing about comedy, the thing about candid conversation, the thing about just being a real person is, like, inside of all of that, there's a lot of truth that you can spread. There's a lot of stuff you can put people on.
None of it is without reasoning. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think even some of the wildest things we'll say, even if you may not agree, they'll give you something to back it up to where you'd be like, well, I may not agree with it, but I understand.
Most definitely. And the comedy comes from a place of truth. And I'll say, man, one thing y'all did, man, that was real eye-opening, man, is y'all had an episode where you all had a conversation, not as some, you know, we're LGBT right activists and we're here. Y'all had a conversation as like, hey, we are straight Black men, and y'all had a guest who was
my cousin Marcus,
your cousin who was openly gay, not trying to hide
openly
anything.
gay,
and he just had a conversation, that a lot of regular, like, straight dudes like myself never have been able to really just have. Sometimes we come off like we're like, I feel like a lot of times when I even have asked different things, it's like, you know, nowadays, you know, I feel like certain segment of sisters, like, if you even ask a question, you will, you know, I forgot
whatever.
Whatever
some type of label
is. One of them, archaeoisist type of thing. And I'm like, man, you can't even ask a question without it being offensive, man. So to have, and also as a masculine man, you know, and having that level of maturity too, to be able to say, like, hey, man, like, I'm comfortable enough in myself. Just say, hey, man, we're gonna have this. My cousin, you know, he gay, you know, but at the same time, you know, it's my cousin. I got love for him. And at the same time, I still, certain things I don't understand. And I was like, yo, that was a powerful episode. And one day, man, it's just unfortunate sometime in real time, you know, heroic acts don't get rewarded. But I think, you know, someday people are going to go back and really be like, man, that was really bold for them to do that.
We getting ready to do it again. We got this guy went to high school with me, man. He's an author and a journalist, writes for a lot of major publications. A guy named Michael Arsenault.
Okay.
He's actually the only guest to appear on Desus and Mero 3 times. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
But he has a book coming out called I Can't Date Jesus. And it's just about, like, his experience, you know what I'm saying? It's a gay Black man. And so he's coming down here next week, and he's having a book signing event. He's going to come and do the podcast. So I don't know, man. Like, for me, you know, my degree is in broadcast journalism. Yeah, I do music and all that, but I really went to school, really graduated. So there's still a part of me that still enjoys that journalistic approach. You know what I'm saying? So I want to tell these stories. I want to get somebody who's openly gay on here. I want to get somebody who was the biggest dope dealer in Texas. You know what I'm saying? I want to get somebody who was a dope fiend, you know what I'm saying, and then change their life around, and now they doing something totally different. I want to tell these different types of stories that's not necessarily being told.
No, I feel that, man. I definitely feel that, man. And it's the show getting better too, man. It's like it's definitely improving, and I mean, it already started out as something that was very entertaining, but I feel like the flow is just, you know, man, like, you know, when Taxstone got locked up, man, it left a hole in my heart, man. That was,
man, I hate that, bro, because, man, I really enjoyed Taxstone's podcast, bro.
Man, he just really found a unique space that was uniquely him, man. And I mean, Taxstone is who I look up. I still go back and listen to his old stuff.
Oh, me
man.
too.
Like,
me too.
You know, he really, to me, showed that, like, there's a place for everyone's unique view.
And there's no one particular format or one particular, like, all you gotta do is be true to yourself and tell the stories.
Yeah.
You know, and if it's real, then people gonna gravitate to it. And like that was the thing I think I liked about Tax is that, you know, he was coming, he was a goon. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. He definitely
was a real life gangster, you know what I mean? But he was telling these stories from his point of view and it was good, you know?
No, it was, yeah, he had some great episodes, man. But hey, man, moving forward too, you know, no pressure, but you know, I guess he said Dustin told you, well, it'll be out soon. But we was in a short film together, man. What like you killed that role as Lil Yeah, man.
Oh,
like,
appreciate it.
Yeah, man, I can't wait till people see Lil Yeah.
I can't wait to see it because I ain't seen it. You know,
man,
I ain't seen no clips. Dustin, baby, go ahead, release the movie, baby. We waiting,
man. Like, bro, yo, man,
we waiting on the movie, man.
It's that Lil Yeah, like, man.
That Lil Yeah,
man.
Yeah.
No, that was hilarious, man. But like, yo, the acting, man, is you know, is that something you see see yourself really pursuing? Or
that's really what I want to do. To be real, dog, I don't want to say I don't have a desire to do music anymore, but that's not really what I want to do.
I feel that.
It's just I'm just knee deep in it to where this is just what I got to keep doing it until I can get this other stuff going. You know what I'm saying? And I still like it, but my goal would really, you know, I never really wanted to be the biggest producer. Maybe at one point, but I feel like, you know, God gives you all these talents, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And if you're not using them, then you do yourself a disservice. So if I say I'm going to be the biggest producer and I ignore having a gift of being funny, you know what I'm saying? Or having the gift to like, I don't know, like people gravitate to me well, you know what I'm saying? Like people take to me or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Like if I don't use any of these things, then I ain't living to my full potential, you know what I'm saying? So like my goal for real, in a perfect world, I'll be Arsenio Hall. The first time he did the show, not when he came back. Because he was
young Arsenio. Hey, shout out Arsenio Hall.
Because
man.
he was able to be funny, you know what I'm saying? He was able to talk to people and have these guests and tell these stories. He had music, you know what I'm saying? Like he just kind of had that thing. So like that's a long shot, but
nah, it ain't a long shot, man. That's a short shot, man. You could, dog. It ain't a long shot, man.
No, it's not too long. No, for sure. Because I mean, it's some things that I've done to this day where I'll be like, man, I never would have thought. But you know, that's what I want to do. So I want to do more acting. I want to do more comedy, so people see me in that light. Like a lot of times, for the most part, I've played the background role.
Yeah,
being a DJ, being a producer, being more of a behind the scenes kind of guy. You really don't know my personality unless you know me for real. You know what I mean? So you may have a perception of me that is nowhere near what I am for real. You know what I'm saying? So right now I'm just working on trying to show those other aspects. So when I do jump out here with this other stuff, then it makes sense.
Man, to me, man, you like a non-shy introvert disguised as an extrovert, man. So it's like, cause you definitely like comfortable around people, but I was like, to see you really put on, like, get in the character and all that, I was like, man, like, yo, I thought you were like a quiet dude. Like, I thought you were, I didn't know that side of you, like, existed. Now I'm like, man, no, you.
Right, and I think that's a general perception because I usually play a background role, you know what I'm saying? And I'm not out in everybody's face just talking and doing all that, you know what I mean? But if we kicking it, shit, we gonna have a good time, you know what I'm saying?
Nah, I feel that. I definitely feel that, man. One thing wanted to touch on before we got out of here, with you doing your art full time and everything. How long have you been just full time with your music creation and all that? And what was it a process of you, just kind of following up on a conversation we had last week of people getting
from 9 to 5 into okay, so it went like this. I worked at HCC when I graduated college, right? And it used to be all this like runaround about me getting like promotions and all this other type of stuff, and it happened for like 3 years. I was there for 3 years, you know what I'm saying? And when it got to like the start of year 4, I was just like, I just got a feeling, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm not a saint by a long shot, but I do believe in God, Christian for real, you know what I'm saying? I actually rededicated my life to Christ early this year. I ain't been doing the best job with that shit, but but I did it, you know what I'm saying?
Shout out Yeshua.
But yeah, for sure. But it got to a point to where going to work became like kind of like depressing. You know what I'm saying? And it's like I'm tuned in with God. I don't pray all the time, every day. I pray before every event I do. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Routine. But I don't I don't go to church as often as I should anymore and all that. But I am tuned in with God. And so I can hear and feel when he's telling me certain things. And it got to a point to where it was just like, I'm showing up to this job and I'm just not in it. And it's becoming like a drag to show up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And at the same time, I'm DJing. Like, this is like when I'm at Faces. So I'm DJing on the regular. You know what I'm saying? Like, I could literally walk away from the job and be okay financially, but I would need to turn up with it. And so it got to a point to where I was just like, I ain't gonna lie, bro. Like, I started showing up to work and telling them what I wasn't gonna do. You know what I'm saying? Like, no, I'm not doing this today.
Wow.
And you know what I'm saying? I'm not going home. I'm finna sit here on this clock and get this check. And I did this shit for like 2 months. You know what I'm saying? And once it got to the second month, I was just like, man, because my boss was so cool. And she understood where I was, you know what I'm saying? But she was so cool to where I was just like, man, I don't even want to do this to her no more. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Because I'm literally coming in here, they're dumping assignments on my desk, and I'm like, nah.
Hey, just give me like a quick reenactment. How does it work? Like, what is it? Hey, here's your work. Nah, I ain't like,
here's your work. Can you do this for me? All right, cool. I get to it. 2 days later, hey, did you finish? Nah, I ain't started on it yet. Hey, did you? No, I'm gonna get to it. Well, I mean, you just come in here. If you're not gonna do anything, why don't you just leave? See y'all tomorrow. You know. So then it came again, and I was just like, man, you know what? I need to leave. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't never want to bring bad energy to anything. You know what I'm saying? And after a while, it was like, nah, you just being an asshole. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I feel
like,
that.
Quit the job. You know what I mean? Get the LLC and get it going, and that's what I did.
And never look back, huh?
Okay. So here's another thing. This is a very real thing. When I moved back to Houston, I had a friend of mine who had got into a better position. He became a dean. You know what I'm saying? And he was basically offering me. He was like, man, I need some young people on the squad. Like, he was trying to do something different. He was like, man, whatever you want to do, if you just come back and help me, you could be a great help to me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I tried to come back and ended up coincidentally in the same type of situation. Like, started, you know, just the job was supposed to start in August. It was supposed to be full time, making whatever, everything laid out for me. Boom. It's supposed to be right. Like, man, come in, do part-time, so you already be in the system, and it'll be a quick transition when the job start. So I'm like, all right, cool. So I come in for what was supposed to be in a month of part-time. It turned into 2 months. That turned into, okay, we're going to start it on this date. That date came around. It didn't happen. All right, we're going to start on this date. So now we in October, November. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Truth be told, like, I was sitting in there and I'm like, man, you know, I'm getting miserable again, man. This can't be life. You know what I'm saying? Like, this cannot be life. I ain't feeling it, you know. And a part of me was feeling like, because truth be told, I wasn't as focused when I moved back because one of my boys, you know what I'm saying, rest in peace, my boy Jay Brown, Justin Brown, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
he died when I was in Atlanta. And, like, I don't know, that kind of had, like, a effect on me. So, like, for, like, a year, bro, I was just in a weird space.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And, I don't know, man. Like, it came time to go to Thanksgiving break, and I was just like, man, I'm miserable. At the same time, like, I'm doing all kind of other extracurricular that ain't the most productive, you know what I'm saying? And knowing that ain't really what I'm supposed to be doing, and kind of feeling like God telling me, like, you off track right now. You know what I'm saying? Like, you need to kind of come back in. So it comes to Thanksgiving. I prayed a serious prayer, bro. I said, God, you know what I'm saying? I had lost my passion to do music, everything, dog. Like, and so I'm just lost, really, because I have no passion to do music, and I'm working this job, which is on some bullshit. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just kind of like stuck between a rock and a hard place. Prayed a prayer before I went out of town because we were spending Thanksgiving in Atlanta. Basically praying that if God shows me something in this trip, well, for one, I'm not gonna do certain things. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So for this
biggest deal I ever made.
this was the biggest deal I've made.
Was you in the closet with your son?
I wasn't in the closet. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't in the closet, man. And listen, so you know what I mean. I prayed before we go on this trip, dog. I'm like, man, look, I'm finna clear my head. I'm gonna be, focused. When I go to Atlanta, I'm just gonna chill and just go there to just get back focused.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm praying that I get like a sign or something to like restore my passion and show me that like, man, I still got something for you with this entertainment, this music or whatever it is gonna be. You know what I'm saying, on that side versus with this work thing. So mind you, they're still playing with the position that I'm supposed to have. You know what I'm saying? Go out of town, bro, and I go back and do comedy again for the first time. You know what I'm saying, at the Atlanta Comedy Theater, and killed. Like, I wasn't even expecting it, you know what I'm saying? But I killed. I always write, so I have routines just in my phone, you know what I'm saying? Did a routine, killed, standing ovation, all that. The next day, long story short, I end up meeting 2 Chainz. We have a one-on-one basketball game, you know what I'm saying? Connect with him and his people and all that. And I'm like, and end up on the news, you know what I'm saying? Get interviewed on Fox 5 out there, you know what I mean? Like, all these things where I'm like, bro, it's a million people out here in this world. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's not having these type of experiences, and this isn't for nothing. You know what I'm saying? God is trying to show me like, hey, look, you still funny. You know what I'm saying? But you need to do more comedy. You know what I'm saying? You can't do it, but you need to do more comedy. You still can do the music thing, the producing thing. Let me open up these possibilities to show you these are the contacts that you can, have the access to or whatever. You know what I'm saying? It just kind of like restored me. And when I came back, coincidentally, something ended up happening over at the job to where I was going to be a part of a reconstruction, you know what I'm saying, a new position and all that, like this new reorganization. And so when I got back, I found out the reorganization was put on hold indefinitely.
Dang.
So I was never going to get that job, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I had to have these things happen to where it's like when I came back, in my mind, I was already on some like, I'm definitely quitting the job, but I didn't want to do my boy like that because I had gave him my word, you know what I'm saying? But then I'm like, quit the job because what you're supposed to have is not going to happen.
Man, that's a nice testimony there, man.
You know what I'm saying? So
that's what's up, man. Well, as we headed wrapping it up, man. One question, man, was just being, somebody multi-talented, having different disciplines and stuff like that. Do you ever get like overwhelmed with it? Like, or do you just try to focus on one at a time? Like, how do you balance the different things?
I'm still working on that. Like, I haven't really. I was supposed to drop an album this year, Sound Waves. You know what I'm saying? I got like the little distribution deal with Empire or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So I was supposed to drop a project, but I'm not dropping it right now because I ain't feeling the music, so I ain't gonna rush it. You know what I mean?
I feel you on that.
So I'm still trying to figure it out, but I do try to allocate. Okay, on this day I'm doing music. On this day I'm gonna do this. On this day,
yeah, man, that's what I gotta start doing. Cause that, man, I'm studying a couple some new languages. Basically, I'm a WordPress developer, but my heart is really out in the iOS. Learning that. But man, just trying to go back and forth, man, between stuff, man. I'm starting to learn, man. Like, man, an uninterrupted block of time. There's no way to use it better than to just focus on one thing. Like,
right.
It's just, I mean,
you have to because the moment you start putting all them things in front of you, bro, is you headed for self-destruction. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man. I think Tony Robbins said complexity is the enemy of execution.
Yeah.
So
make it as simple as possible.
Yeah, man. But I want to do it all in a day, man. I want to.
We all do.
Go run 3 miles, write a rap, study a book, show up an hour early for work, and then, man.
We all do. And it's not even that that's even an impossible task. You know what I'm saying? It's just like time management, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to really, if I got to do 7 things in a day, I need to put myself on a schedule.
Yeah. And
make sure that in between these time blocks, I'm allocating it to these things and getting them done so that I'm ready for the next one. You know what I'm saying? And that's a task in itself, trying to stay on task. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Trying to stay on task is a task. Man, also, hey, shout out to Jim Rohn. Went back to studying my original teacher, man. And not having a philosophy is a philosophy. So I just, man, that Jim Rome, man, that was a cold brother. Man, you familiar with him at all?
I am, but I haven't really got into his stuff. Like I know he got a popping podcast and he got like all this stuff going.
Nah, man, Jim Rome dead, man. Jim Rome.
Who's Jim Rome? No shit. I'm thinking about who was that you said earlier with the podcast? Joe Rogan.
Joe Rogan. Okay, yeah, the comedian. Nah, Jim Rome was like the father of I don't say the father, he was one of the people who really started some of the success and, you know.
Yeah. I see him quoted all the time,
Yeah, extremely wise dudes. And man, I feel like I lost some of my, man, basically, man, I had something happen where, a couple things happened where people was reading the same books that I was reading, but I mean, they getting life-changing impact. I'm like, damn, you got that from that book? Yeah. Like, so I'm like, man, how are these people getting these results that I ain't getting? So I went back to the original stuff when I got into reading this type of stuff, and I started with Jim Rohn, and I was like, oh, okay, I lost my, you know, that innocence of a young man who just does whatever the teacher says became, I already know this already, and that's how I started reading stuff and not necessarily put it into play. But I was listening to one of the speeches. He said, If you want to know what's wrong with your life, you got to start with your philosophy. And I was like, what? The doctor says eat an apple a day, not a piece of chocolate a day. So he started breaking
the most simplest things, right?
Yeah, so he just started breaking down philosophy, and I just started like, man, and it get real deep, man, because I was talking to one of the homies about like, man, your life be just dictated by philosophy, you know, and all type of, it's okay to be late, a couple minutes late. That's a philosophy, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, it's okay for me to eat a lot if I'm hungry. That's a philosophy. Everything you believe is a philosophy.
Yeah, but that don't make it the right one.
No, it's indifferent. It's just, you know what I'm saying? But cumulatively, they all come together to, you know, create results, man. So, man, hey, man, it's been a pleasure, man, chopping it up with you, man. As I thought, man, you touched on everything. Got a testimony, got a story, man, got some insight, got some business intelligence. Man, we close out with every guest, man, just to, you know, drop a couple, you know, jewels if they was just giving their own commencement speech, man, to the listeners, man. Like, how would yours go, man?
Well, you know, hey, man, you can literally do and be anything and whoever you want to be. You know what I'm saying? But you got to believe it. You know what I'm saying? You got to believe it. And it's not about, my whole thing is, it's not about that I can and you can't. It's that I will and you won't.
That's real. Dang. Man, that's a good one, right? That's a good word, man. Brother Donnie Houston, man. Hey, make sure y'all check out that, man, What They Talking About podcast. It's in the Apple Store, SoundCloud. Sure. Where else is it?
Apple Store, SoundCloud. That's it. You know what I'm saying? What They Talking About? No G on Talking, BOUT. Subscribe, give us a 5-star rating, share with your friends and family. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, no doubt, man.
Follow us on Instagram, WTTBPODCAST. Follow me on Instagram. I'm Donnie Houston. I am DONNIEHSHOUSTON.
Do you have a YouTube channel you starting too?
The YouTube, yeah, it's I'm Donnie Houston. All my stuff is I'm Donnie Houston.
Oh, okay. All right, cool. And we'll put it in the show notes too, man. So, all right, man. Well, hey, peace out, man. Ball is life.